and welcome to the first episode of Battlefield Hardline News. So this is Battlefield Hardline News episode 1. And today we have a patch for the Hardline beta which addresses quite a few fixes. So they fixed several client crashes and several server crashes. So the game's not been the most stable thing that you've ever seen in your life. But to be honest, most of the client crashes I've had have been at the end of rounds rather than mid-round, and I've not had a server crash at all, or I don't think I have. Perhaps the end of round crashes were server crashes, you can't really tell. They fixed issues with the UI pop-ups causing memory leaks. So if you've seen any footage of the game, you'll know that you get a lot of on-screen messages telling you what the status of the objectives is, who's got the money, where the bags are, all that kind of stuff. It all appears on screen in little pop-ups. And apparently they were causing memory leaks, so if you were playing for a while it would build up and build up in your memory, so they fixed that. Fixed an issue with player connected messages during bad packet loss. So there have been several issues with the game and packet loss. So people with bad connections would get bombarded with messages on the screen. So it would try and show 4 or 5 at once because it was trying to catch up. And it was the same with the voice messages. You would get several voice messages playing all at the same time. Now, I haven't had this problem because I've been playing on European servers, haven't tried going across to an American server with high pings and packet losses. There's also an issue with interrogation mode in packet loss. So, interrogation mode relies on timing. You take somebody down and then you have a certain time to press E, or if you use the taser, there's 4 or 5 seconds where they're on the ground before you can actually go and restrain them. Because of all these timing issues with packet loss, either for the person on the ground or for the person doing the interrogation, it could upset all those timings and nothing would really happen. They've updated the server protocol version. Now, I don't know if this means they've updated the version of TCP/IP they're running, or whether the servers have their own protocol for talking to the clients. But whatever it is, they've updated it. Fixed several client exit related issues. So there were problems whereby when you quit, the Hardline game would stay open, but the battle log would think it was closed, and then that would cause conflicts. And they fixed a timeout issue when resizing the window. So I assume that this is when you resize the window, you get the little box coming up saying, do you want to keep these settings? And I think that wasn't timing out and defaulting back to the old settings. So sometimes you can play around with the settings and then it completely screws up what you're seeing. You can't click on the button to say go back, so it should time it out and then reset it itself. So that's the first Battlefield Hardline patch, and as you can see, it's mainly sorting out stability issues with the new game, which is what you expect for the first 2 or 3 patches. Because this is a new game and it's in beta, there's a lot of information flying around that you can't verify. So I'm going to bring back the old Rumour icon. There it is. So this is going to appear for stuff that I can't go out and verify. So the first of these rumours is that the PC, Xbox One and PlayStation 4 are going to have a 64 player limit on Hardline, and the Xbox 360 and PS3 are going to have the 32 player limit. So this is the same as BF4, so this is probably true, but we haven't had it officially. So Visceral have stated that Hardline is going to have even more new game modes, and in fact it's only going to have a few game modes which will be similar to Battlefield 4 game modes. Now, everyone's expecting Team Deathmatch because every version of Battlefield has that. And would Visceral release a version of Battlefield without Conquest in it, or a mode very similar to Conquest? Maybe you're not going to get the 7 capture points, maybe it's going to be 5 capture point maps, but there's got to be a version of Conquest in there. And that's pretty much all you can see coming over from Battlefield 4. Now, some people are saying you might get Obliteration or Domination, but I think they'll probably stick to the classics, Team Deathmatch and Conquest. Rumour has it that Visceral were planning on putting civilians into the game and are still trying to come up with ideas to include them. They have modelled non-combat civilians and they've modelled civilians driving cars. Now the interesting thing with this is the opposing dynamics. The police of course couldn't kill civilians, but the robbers certainly could. So how is that going to work? But this is just something Visceral said they had planned and are still looking at. There's no guarantee it's going to appear in the game. And the final version is quite a large one. This beta that we're seeing is the beta for the PS4, Xbox One and PC version only. The Xbox 360 and PS3 version is being written by a different studio. Now if you think this sounds unlikely, then this is exactly how Titanfall was done. Blueprint Games did the Xbox 360 version of Titanfall, and this might mean that Battlefield Hardline comes out later on Xbox 360 and PS3 than it does on the modern consoles and PC. And that was the same for Titanfall, with the 360 version of Titanfall coming out a month later than the other versions. So that's it for the rumours, and that's it for this episode of Battlefield Hardline News. So you're going to have to expect me to say Battlefield 4 in various points in the Hardline videos, because I've just had to record that Battlefield Hardline News part 3 times because I kept saying Battlefield 4 News. Anyway, that really is it for episode 1 of Battlefield Hardline News, and thanks for watching.